So welcome everybody, Flo here with Blockchain North. This is a first. We've never done this, so bear with us as we kind of go live. I mean, we'll edit this very lightly and publish it ASAP in light of the, at least what looks like the SEC's final approval, or finally, I should say, of not 11, but many of the ETFs. And I have Bobby with me. So I'm the founder and CEO. Bobby's our director, and as I like to call him, our blockchain oracle. How you doing, Bobby?
Good. I'm excited. It's like it feels like for me that this is like 8 years in the making. So for me, it's a big day. It's a great day. I feel like I've been like manifesting it as well in a way. Like I've been telling myself every day, it's coming, it's coming, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. And yeah, finally, it looks like we've got the approval. So
Awesome,
exciting.
awesome. Well, we're gonna get right into it. Just before I begin, in case you people don't know, on the video, we are Blockchain North. We're Canada's first blockchain media. We do interviews, articles. We're relaunching our website this month. Lots of great content will be coming out in the coming weeks and months. If you don't already follow us, we're on literally all the platforms from YouTube and Twitter to LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. And we're launching a newsletter next week. So if you haven't already, go to blockchainnorth.ca/newsletter and sign up. Hundreds have already done so. And we're going to provide a really unique aggregation of Canadian first content. We believe it's sorely needed. So Bobby, first off, I think let's start from the basics. What is an ETF?
Yeah, so an ETF is an exchange traded fund. It's essentially a basket of securities that's traded like intraday, like on the stock market, like any other stock would be. So it's similar to like a mutual fund, but a mutual fund is not traded day to day. It's traded at the end of trading days. The exchange traded funds they're traded during the normal trading hours. And yeah, they could hold things like stocks, bonds, some other securities. We already had the approval back in 2021 of futures ETFs for Bitcoin. So those were futures contracts that were basically representing Bitcoin and that were meant to kind of track the price of Bitcoin. But of course, there's nothing like holding the real thing. With futures contracts, there's all kinds of like externalities with that in terms of like settlement and the prices that you get the contracts at, and et cetera, et cetera. With this, we're really getting spot Bitcoin ETFs. This is when you buy it, you're buying a basket of just Bitcoin, and so the price will very closely track Bitcoin's actual price, which is really exciting.
And when you say track, that does mean that, oh, I'm just seeing now, I'm on Twitter, I'm just seeing a thread with the ETF approval doc 37 seconds ago.
Yeah, so this approval doc was actually posted about a half hour ago, but like everything in crypto, it couldn't just come like clean and easy and simple. So it was actually removed from the SEC website. And then companies like Reuters and stuff, they were all like reporting on it. Oh, it got approved, it got approved. But then when you click the link for the filing, it wasn't there. So happy to hear that it actually is there. And I think it is the 11 ETFs that got approved, if I'm not mistaken. So it actually is all 11 applications have been approved, which is exciting.
Yeah, I agree. Lots of messages popping up on my screen, so apologies, folks, if I'm a little bit distracted. Very exciting stuff. So just so we're super clear here, holding a Bitcoin ETF, it's brand new, of course, a couple of minutes ago, basically,
Yeah.
is not the same as holding crypto directly, is it?
Well, so okay, there will be some that will say, not your keys, not your crypto, and I've been a big proponent of that because the alternative in the past was to hold your crypto on exchanges like FTX, and we've seen what happens with those exchanges like FTX. You're not insured. You don't know what they're doing with the crypto in the background. They say that they're holding it one-to-one, but then they could be doing a bunch of other trading activities. They can go bankrupt, they can collapse, etc. So, the prevailing thought among the real crypto diehards previously had always been not your keys, not your crypto. I think these ETFs do change that a little bit, at least for me, because what these ETFs represent, I mean, like ETFs are backed by SIPC insurance, by SIPC insurance, meaning that up to $500,000 of your assets that are held in these ETFs, they're insured, they're fully insured. And what this means is that people that previously, first of all, didn't want to bother with like self custody. I mean, self custody is not easy to the general public. I mean, my mom has known about crypto since I got in it about 8 years ago, and she still does not want to deal with self custody. I mean, she just says, "Oh, just buy me Coinbase stock,
Yeah.
or like you do it for me, basically, right?" But this is going to be really easy for the general public, and of course for Canadians, we've already had spot Bitcoin ETFs. But for Americans, this is a really huge deal. This is going to really, this is basically holding Bitcoin in an institutionally trusted, like entity. This is really really big. It's so exciting.
Right, right. Yeah, I hear you. And you mentioned Canada, by the way. Shout out to I think 3IQ, which had the first Bitcoin fund. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then Purpose Investment, which launched the world's first ETFs. I think there's a Bitcoin ETF, an Ether ETF, and then a combination ETF, which is also interesting. 3 years ago, 2021, if my dates are correct.
Yeah, so
It's a
2021 was the year that not only spot ETFs for Bitcoin were approved in Canada, but also the futures ETFs for America were approved, and that was a huge catalyst for the crypto bull run during 2021, because it kind of happened right in the middle of that bull run, and we saw even more excitement at that point. But yeah, Canada, we were really like first on this, which is exciting.
And so why did the US need to have its own ETF? I mean, it's probably obvious. It's the largest market in the world, the largest economy. And I guess for Americans, could they actually invest in the Canadian one or?
They could have, yeah, they definitely could have, but nothing. It's not quite like investing in your home country for those Americans. So they definitely could have gained exposure in a variety of ways, including those Canadian ETFs. But most retirement plans, most financial advisors, obviously they want to support the financial institutions that they've been supporting, which means to invest with these American entities. So that's a
And
big reason why.
so who is this? Yeah, that was my next question. Who is this for actually? Because I don't know about you, full disclosure, I hold some Bitcoin, I hold some Ethereum, I own it myself, I cold store it. So
Same.
also should have said this at the beginning, but not financial advice here. We're just having a conversation and sharing kind of our personal opinions and some information, hopefully that's valuable to Canadians and others. But yeah, is an ETF then for everyone? Is it specifically for certain categories of investors? Enlighten us.
I think it's for everyone, but what this opens up really is that traditional financial sector, right? So, people that are maybe a little bit older that didn't want to bother with registering on like an unregistered crypto exchange or holding their own crypto, they can now gain exposure to this asset class. Even if it's just 1% of the retirement fund, 2% of the retirement fund, similar to the way that in a typical retirement fund, you're going to have a certain allocation of stocks, bonds, precious metals, commodities, etc. Bitcoin might just become part of a standard retirement
Mm.
fund, which is super exciting, right? I mean, not only that, but also companies may decide to hold 1 or 2% of their treasury within Bitcoin now, which we had seen that previously with companies like Tesla, obviously MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor holding a significant portion of their treasury in Bitcoin because that's a major part of their macro strategy, I could say. But yeah, so I mean, now this opens up the floodgates for the traditional finance sector, for the skeptics, and that actually brings me to something that I think is like really important
Okay.
with regards to these ETFs that I want to talk about, and that's the fact that so previously the top of the Bitcoin funnel, where people would get their information, where people would be exposed to Bitcoin for the first time, would be, maybe new media companies like Blockchain North on YouTube, maybe YouTubers, maybe some
Twitter.
influencers, maybe some, degens or their friends that are saying, hey, I invested in this, shitcoin, quote unquote. Now, the top of the funnel for so many people is going to be these huge institutions that are going to be putting a ton of marketing resources into crypto, into Bitcoin, into finally educating the general public, which is what has been lacking, which is what's so important for us, is that your neighbor knows exactly what Bitcoin is. They know exactly what crypto is. Now they're going to be seeing the advertisements on Fox News, on
I
CNBC.
heard
They're
the
going to be
Super Bowl. Someone said the Super Bowl will definitely. I think it was Pomp who said the Super Bowl will definitely have at least one major ad for an ETF.
100%, 100%, and I've already seen those ads. I've seen them for the ETFs. They were kind of like showcased. I'm not even sure how they got leaked or whatever, but I've seen them before, so I know that there are marketing dollars that are coming for education to, get these people from the traditional finance sector finally interested, finally educated on Bitcoin, and maybe unraveling some of the misconceptions that come along with it.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the market right now, and there's always this talk about buy the rumor, sell the news, and often there's a lot of anticipation because markets are forward-looking, and so prices climb before the news, and then the news happens and prices come down. Which I don't know if we
Yeah.
could call this right now a sell the news yet. When you look at Bitcoin at 45.6, is that sell the news, or I mean, it seems to be within the band we've been in pretty much since the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I expect a ton of volatility in these next few hours, even in the next few days. I expect a ton of volatility here as people do expect some kind of sell the news. Others might expect, oh my God, this is so bullish, I want to buy more right now. So we are in a volatile period for Bitcoin,
Really choppy,
especially.
right? When you look at it like this.
Really, really choppy. I mean, I'm seeing it go up to 47, down to 44, up to 47, down to 44. It's been very, very volatile, but this is about, I think, where the expectations were. We've known for a while now that these ETFs would be approved, right? I mean, we had lawsuits that were settled by the judges. They said that the SEC, they overstepped, and that they had no right basically to reject the previous approvals for the ETF. So we knew that this was coming. It was really just a matter of time. So this isn't news. So I don't expect the price to like skyrocket, that's for sure, because we've known this, and this these ETFs are the main reason that Bitcoin has climbed from 24 or whatever it was to 46. It's basically doubled within the last 2-3 months. So this ETF news was the primary driving force behind that. So at this point now, it'll really just be about how well these ETFs actually perform, how much inflows actually go into these ETFs tomorrow, next week. I mean, we're expecting billions of dollars within the first few years, but really, how much actual demand will there be? That's going to be really the driving force now for the price.
Yeah. And of course, this isn't the only big news that we're expecting in 2024. The Bitcoin halving is perhaps even a bigger news, according at least to many Bitcoin maxis who would say that, the Bitcoin halving is it's an algorithmic, or if you want a mathematical,
Yeah.
like almost like you could say it's like a hard
Built-in.
change
Yeah.
versus just something somewhat external, because of course, BlackRock, Valkyrie, all these guys aren't blockchain companies. Whereas the
They're
halving
about to become
happening at
blockchain
the core.
companies.
They're becoming, yeah.
They're about to become blockchain companies. But yeah, no, I mean the Bitcoin halving is just now about 3 months away, so super exciting. Generally, that slashes the available supply of new Bitcoins, which is a big deal, because slashing the supply while we're potentially increasing the demand for Bitcoin with these ETFs, it's kind of been this perfect storm. And we've seen Bitcoin now climb up to basically 2/3 of the all-time high, right? So the all-time high was about 69K US. We're sitting at about 46K US. What I find really interesting, though, actually, is that that Ethereum has really been climbing today on this news of the Bitcoin ETF approval, and
where it's
the
been
reason for
lagging
that.
lately, right?
Right. So Ethereum is actually at about half of the all-time high, where the all-time high was about 49, maybe 5,000 US, and we're at about 24, 2,500 US right now. But Ethereum just today, I'm looking at it, and it's up 5.4%, and a lot of people are saying that this is because now all eyes are on Ethereum. That's next in line to get that spot Ether ETF, which is going to be huge news. We've already basically gotten confirmation from the SEC that Ethereum is not a security. It's not something that they're actively pursuing, unlike the XRP cases and etc. They've already basically said like Bitcoin, Ethereum is essentially a commodity at this point, despite some of the XRP guys may be telling you that, hey guys, you should go look at Ethereum because they did some stuff back then too that could be considered a security. But people are excited about the potential for these Ether ETFs now that might be coming. So we might see some big moves there as well.
Ether. I guess there's a few different pronunciations.
Yeah.
But anyway, by the way, why were only, I think, 5 or 6 approved out of the 11? Is it just that they're doing a batch now and then they'll do another batch?
So no, it does look like all 11 were approved.
Oh, okay.
The news was that the CBOE like about 2 3 hours ago they announced that they were listing five or six of them themselves.
Oh,
But
I
I'm
missed that.
guessing
Okay.
that that announcement basically just meant that we're listing these, the rest will be listed on the other listing agents, through the other listing agents like the NASDAQ, like the New York Stock Exchange, etc. But the news that I'm seeing is that indeed all 11 ETFs were approved. So
So I'm gonna go and turn my light on because it's getting really dark here, and it looks like I'm in some kind of a dungeon or something like that, or something worse. But anyway, tongue in cheek here. What do you expect the broader impact to be though on the crypto market and really even on just blockchain technology adoption, which of course, despite the ups and downs of the crypto market, blockchain adoption has actually been quite relentless, and we've seen more and more of it. And car companies, manufacturing companies, banks, governments, and central banks, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, blockchain is clearly not going anywhere. What do you expect the impact of specifically this ETF approval to be on the market globally? I'll be right back.
yeah, uh, should I answer it now then? I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Go ahead. Go
he's
ahead.
gonna edit it. Yeah, I mean that's a great question. I think the primary impact that this is gonna have is really just that this wasn't like this is not like an endorsement from these companies that are listing the ETFs, but it is definitely validating Bitcoin. It is
Mm,
definitely validating blockchain as an asset class and as a technology, right? I mean, people from the traditional finance sectors will now be kind of forced to look at it, because now when their clients come in and they say, hey, I'm young, I'm interested in maybe investing in something a little bit riskier, something kind of like a crypto. Now the investment advisors are kind of going to be forced to service their clients the best way that they can, whereas before that they would simply say, sorry, we don't do that, we don't invest in crypto, we can't do that for you, right? So what I think is the the biggest impact that this is going to have is the acceptance of Bitcoin, of blockchain as a technology from the general public. I mean, the builders like us, the diehards, the ones that have been working in the industry, we didn't need any more convincing. This isn't really going to impact us. I mean, maybe some of us are going to move some of our funds from from cold storage to something like an ETF that's insured, but besides that, this isn't really changing anything big for us. But what I think it is doing is it's going to educate the public, definitely, because of, like I said, all these like marketing campaigns, and it's basically going to promote the acceptance of this technology.
the term that was on my mind was normalize in a sense, right? Because
Normalize
I
it.
mean,
Yeah.
crypto has been pretty fringy, let's be honest, and it still is, of course, to this minute. But over the next few years, as you said, Super Bowl ads, access for all sorts of financial services players to join in and not to feel like, I guess, the very idea of investing in crypto is haram, as the Arabs would say, is bad, bad, bad. Okay, well, and another question again, just a quick thing. If you like this video, by the way, this is our first. We'd love to do more. We've been thinking about it for a while. Bobby, as you can tell, is super, super knowledgeable, and I'm loving asking him all these questions, which I'm very lucky to be able to ask him on a daily basis. But if you like this video, give us a like, write us something in the comment, let us know what you like, don't like, would like more of or less of. We're really trying to help here to support the Canadian ecosystem and inform, educate, and inspire. That's our mission. Canadians and others, but obviously we are here in Canada, and we believe we have a card to play. Is it too late to invest? Not financial advice, but from your point of view, given that, let's say, essentially Bitcoin has not really moved from where it's been in the last few weeks, is it kind of like, oh, you should have really bought 3 months, 6 months, or obviously 10 years ago? Or are you saying, no, actually, now that it's validated as a worthwhile or legitimate investment that's going to be regulated and insured with the ETFs, now might be the best way, or sorry, the best time for many people who were hesitant to now say, okay, now I'm safe, let's jump in. And what do you think is the upside?
Yeah, so I mean, I've been getting this question from like friends and family for basically the entire time that I've been in the space.
Okay.
So it's
Eight
not a
years,
question
right?
that it's not a question that I love to answer, because it's kind of like, well, you said that Bitcoin was great and that I should invest in it, and now it's down. And then, I have no control over when people buy or sell, or when they buy and sell, etc. So, for me, I'm of the mindset that, I really believe in Bitcoin. I really believe in the technology. I really believe in it as a long-term asset, as a sort of digital gold, as something that facilitates peer-to-peer transactions on something that's immutable. I understand the technology and I believe in it. So for me, as an investment, I like it. I love it as an investment. I love it as part of a balanced portfolio, depending on people's risk profiles, etc. I am not someone that trades crypto. I don't trade in general. I'm not qualified to say whether this is a good time, whether it's going to go up or down in the
Right.
short term, in the medium term, etc. But if this is something that interests you, you now have the ability to invest in it. And with these spot Bitcoin ETFs, it is going to be insured by SIPC, which is a huge deal. And you don't have to worry anymore. You don't have to worry about that self-custody aspect. You don't have to worry about a crypto exchange going bankrupt, etc. I mean, if this is something that interests you, do your research, look into it, and definitely please be responsible. Never invest more than you're willing to lose, especially with a speculative asset like a Bitcoin. This thing will be volatile. It will continue to be volatile. What these ETFs will do, though, is, I mean, back to the point of like normalizing it, we will probably start to see kind of like less volatility overall, because now all of a sudden a lot of the transaction volume will go through these institutions instead of going through these like hyper leveraged crypto exchanges, DeFi protocols, etc. So instead of these hyper volatile like avenues for investment, we're going to start to see retirement funds, treasuries, regular people that are just allocating a portion of their investment portfolio.
And a lot of those are long-term investors, right? That's the thing too. And
right, exactly.
Yes,
Yes,
is going to grow as well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, I will say, 15 million or so, I believe, of the 19.6 million Bitcoin that are currently available, they have not changed hands in the last like close to 200 days. I think that's the stat that I recently read. So it's about like 80% of Bitcoin's circulating supply is not on the exchanges. It's not available. It's not being traded. These are people that believe in it. They're holding it. And of course, unfortunately, some people that have lost access to it because, before these ETFs, we had to self-custody, and that comes with a whole lot of problems, and people did lose Bitcoins. So 15 million of these Bitcoins are not moving. So the demand that these ETFs get, they're going to have to go on these exchanges, pick up Bitcoin, and match that to the demand that they're seeing. So, generally, I would say this is a good thing. This is a good thing for crypto. This is a good thing for the price of Bitcoin. But of course, there will be people that will be eager to kind of sell the news, to trim their positions. They've just made a lot of money on this run up. Some of these traders that were trading this ETF news, they saw this as a major bullish factor. They invested when it was 23. They might feel comfortable now, hedging that position, trading down, selling, etc. So, no financial advice here. It could go up, it could go down. That's the, it is what it is. But
like anything else,
definitely get yourself informed. And yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah. Like anything else.
Anything else can go up and down. Yeah. In real estate, I'm sure our realtors will always tell you that real estate only goes up, but I'm not on that camp.
Feels that way.
Yeah, well, maybe. It's funny, I'm looking at the price of Bitcoin right now. So over the last hour, which is more or less since it was approved or believed to be approved, we're down 1.5%. But of course, that's nothing for crypto, 1.5%. I mean, I suppose anything below a 10 or 15 or 20% movement is just kind of natural, right?
Within the realm of expectation, I think. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a significant 5% move up or down here. This was already priced in. We knew what was coming, and now it's really going to be all eyes on the performance of these ETFs. Whether we start to see reporting massive breaks one day record for inflows into to ETFs. I mean, that kind of news can really be interesting, but at this point, until it starts trading tomorrow, it's already all been baked in, basically, this news.
And that's a very good point, of course, because people have been used to, at least the diehards, to buying crypto, and well, anyone who's held crypto thus far has either held it, correct me if I'm wrong, directly, so buying it on a Coinbase, for example, or to give a shout out to a Canadian exchange, let's say a Netcoins or a Virgo. And so that was one option. The other option was to buy crypto stock, for example, to buy Marathon or Coinbase, or again, some of those guys. Let me give another Canadian, a Hive or a WonderFi.
Mhm.
And I guess the third option that I'm aware of would be to have bought a crypto index fund. I think we've had a few of those. I know of one of them in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, you could have bought the futures ETFs as well. You could have exposed yourself through the spot ETFs here in Canada. Some people just buy it from a bit from the ATMs, right? From a
Yes,
Bitcoin ATM.
exactly.
Which that brings me to kind of like another point here is that most of these options that we've listed, we're used to seeing fees of more than 1%, and rightfully so. I mean, this was not the easiest thing to get your hands on. People wanted it done in a safe way, so they're willing to pay a little bit more of a
Yeah.
fee. Now all of a sudden there's these major institutions, and we're looking at the fee schedules for them, and we're seeing 0.2%, 0.3%. We're seeing
Wow.
fee waivers for the first year, fee waivers for the first, like X amount of Bitcoin. We're seeing 0% fees. I think the largest fee that we saw from these ETFs is 1.5% from Grayscale. But they have this whole other thing with the uplist, because they're converting their GBTC into a spot ETF. So I expect that their fees will also drop once that's all settled. So I mean, now all of a sudden, we can get our hands on Bitcoin for fees as low as 0.2%, which was not really possible before.
Yeah.
So
And then you had the proxies, MicroStrategy being the most famous one, where you buy a stock of a company that holds crypto on its own balance sheet. In the case of MicroStrategy, I should be more specific and say Bitcoin, since that's pretty much
yes.
all Michael Saylor will be holding. Um, I guess final questions, maybe one or two more. I'd say, what do you expect the impact of these approvals to be in Canada?
In Canada, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, I'd say it's par for the course here in Canada. I mean, we've already had these ETFs. I think what's going to be huge, though, like I was saying before, is just the education initiatives that are surrounding Bitcoin. I think as we start to see more and more like interest from the traditional finance sector in the US, generally Canada follows. So some of
Mhm.
Canada's seniors, some of Canada's working class people in their 30s, to their 50s, they might now all of a sudden be interested in Bitcoin where they weren't, because they're hearing all of this news, because they're feeling this level of acceptance, of normalization. So we might see more activity in the blockchain sector as a whole, in the Bitcoin, in the crypto space. There might just be more initiatives built around the sector, which is like really exciting. We might see a lot of traditional financial companies, even here in Canada, start to look more seriously at it, because now all of a sudden the demand, might see a bit of a spike here. We might see, yeah, like I was saying, basically just like more acceptance, which is
Do
really
you
exciting.
imagine, do you imagine, do you see an RBC or a TD or any of the large banks launching new services as a result of this broader acceptance? And as you said, following suit with what's happening south of the border?
Yeah, 100%. I think it is basically inevitable at this point. These banks need to adjust, they need to adapt, or they're going to be left behind. There's no reason for them to not end up, offering some kind of service where they can service people that come in, and that, they ask their financial advisor, how do I get into crypto? How do I invest in crypto? I mean, to me, it wouldn't make sense for them to just completely disregard the asset like they have in the past. At this point, there's a kind of like a point of no return. They might have been hesitant before, and they were like, well, maybe if we turn the other cheek enough, maybe people will just kind of like forget about it. I think at this point, Bitcoin is inevitable. Blockchain is inevitable, at least to a certain extent. And I think banks are going to need to adapt, and they should adapt. I want my mom to be able to go to the bank and be like, "Hey, I'm interested in Bitcoin. What do I do?" Like, I want family members to feel like they have access to this technology, and even if that's through the banks, that's great.
Of course, of course. Yeah, yeah. No, no. I mean, I think the crypto sector has seen itself as an inclusive, welcoming, progressive, diverse,
Yeah.
etc. ecosystem. So as much as the Twitter loves to, be quite abrasive or satirical or sarcastic, or I could come up with many adjectives. No, of course, it's part of the ethos that we believe this is the future for the world and that everybody should join, right? So just a random thing. I was just looking at WonderFi. Sorry, I don't need that anymore. I was looking at WonderFi's post 4 hours ago, and they basically said that their trading platforms, which are CoinSquare and BitBuy, saw a 326% increase in trading volume compared to 30-day average, and a 656 increase over Q3 average. I realize this is actually over a longer period of time, but what impact are you expecting on the Canadian exchanges? Yeah, and any other maybe Canadian custody companies? I mean, they're obviously all watching this. We know we've interviewed Dean Skirka of WonderFi, shout out to Hut 8 and Jamie Leverton. That's a mining company, of course, or Netcoins, who we spoke to recently as well. What impact do you think this will have on these players?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I think to your
Took me a
point,
while to
yes,
get to the question. I kind of to
for
meander
sure.
a bit, but here we are.
For sure, these exchanges have seen a significant, like uptick in demand for their services in transaction volumes. I'm sure
Yeah.
of that because naturally, as Bitcoin's price, goes up, more and more people start to look at it and they're like, oh, this is tradable again. There's some excitement here, because Bitcoin does go through these periods where it's not volatile at all, where we stay trading range bound for a while and people are just kind of like they just kind of like forget about it for a while, right? So I think that's normal. What's exciting for me is that these companies that were previously offering crypto related services are going to now need to innovate. Their custody services are now going to be available elsewhere. People will have different options, and what that means is that these companies now will be kind of primed to offer services on top of just simple custody. They can offer staking services, they can offer liquidity pools and DeFi services, and etc. The access to these kind of DeFi services, they can basically just expand on the products and the services that they offer related to crypto. And I'm excited to see what some of these companies come up with, because just on the outside looking in, this is a form of a threat to their business if a core part of their business was people holding some crypto on their platform, right? I mean, I love Wealthsimple. I love what Wealthsimple has done with like allowing you to hold crypto on their platform. They also offer staking services, and I expect those service offerings to increase, to expand as time goes on.
All right, I got a guy here who's like looking to ruin my couch, so I'm gonna have to just stop that. No mistreating of animals here. Love animals, obviously. Bobby has a cat that sometimes walks across his screen as well. By the way, just on another lighter note, is that the Bitcoin standard on your bedside table behind you?
It is. It's not a bedside table, but yeah, it's right in back of my work desk. Yeah, it is the Bitcoin standard.
Did you just reread it, or?
We were actually gifted it recently at a Collision conference, and so yeah, it's just kind of been back there. I've been meaning to read it again, because I did read it when I kind of first got into the space. I had like a PDF version of it online, but yeah, now that I have the actual physical copy, I want to read that. I still have on my list to read Tapscott's new Web3 book.
Yeah, I have it here somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
very
So
exciting. I
yeah,
kind of feel like we know a lot about that book already because we've been partners at this book launch. Look, let's wrap this up, Bobby. Any final thoughts? I mean, what are you left with after kind of doing this little debrief that we've just done very spontaneously? Yeah, what are you going to be looking for in the coming days and months? And
yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm just very excited. I mean, this is probably the biggest news for crypto, for Bitcoin, since I've been in the space. And I've been around for a while, so I've seen the ICO crackdowns. I've seen the Ethereum Shanghai upgrade. I've seen Bitcoin's Lightning Network be introduced. I've seen all kinds of exciting developments from the NFTs, the futures ETFs, etc. But this really does feel like the biggest news that I've been a part of, that I've witnessed. So for me, just a very exciting day. And I think the major takeaways, like I said, is that top of the funnel now for Bitcoin, that the education initiatives that we're going to start to see, the marketing promotional materials that we're going to start to see, That's very exciting to me. I think it's been sorely missing in the space. And notwithstanding, we're partnered we're partnered with a bunch of great companies that do try to educate the general public, as we do too, but we need more of it. So very excited about that, and also very excited, like I was just saying, to see what these crypto companies now come up with as these added offerings, these added services, on top of their existing offering.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. I mean, we could talk forever. You got so much knowledge, Bobby. I knew it, but it's so nice to do it in this format for the very first time. I'm doing dry January, so I'm just gonna say cheers with a glass of water and actually take a sip because apparently it's bad luck if you don't. So cheers,
Cheers with my
everyone. What
coffee
a
then. Yeah.
fantastic news. Quick shameless plug. Again, we're Blockchain North, Canada's first blockchain media or media company. I just want to let you know that we have a lot of new initiatives coming up. Our Immigrants Lead Canadian Blockchain series, sponsored by Muraly, Srinarayanathas. Apologies, Muraly. It's a bit tough, but you'll see the slide at the end of this video, as well as Hadait, who just came on board in the last couple of weeks as co-sponsors of that series. So we've interviewed, we'll have interviewed 9 Canadian, new Canadians, I could say, or Canadian immigrants in the blockchain space to talk about their journey, really personal profiles, some great stories shared. So look forward to that. Our newsletter launches next week. As I said, if you haven't already, go to blockchainnorth.ca/newsletter. I'm sure you'll find it. Link will be in the comments as well. Or in the description. Subscribe now. Follow us, of course. As I said, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. We're going to get a lot more active. In fact, we're recruiting right now. So feel free to get in touch. You can see our messages, especially on LinkedIn. We are also partners with Paris Blockchain Week. I'm originally from Paris. I'm originally French. So for me, super exciting to kind of go full circle, connect my two worlds, and we will be there. We are organizing a whole project that I don't want to say too much about right now, but a lot of content talking about, the relationship and the differences between Canada and France or Europe. We are also launching a community contributors platform on blockchainnorth.ca, where we will be inviting the community leaders, community experts, industry leaders, etc., to share their op-eds, their articles on our platform. So we become some kind of a Canadian forum for discussion, for thought leadership. So I wanted to share that with you as well. I'm probably forgetting a few things. Lots more interviews coming up, several from the CBC event, which was just over a month ago. Those are still coming out in the coming weeks. Thanks again. Let us know what you thought of this format. Give us a like. Give us a thumbs down if you don't like it. I mean, we need to know. Hopefully you did. Hopefully it's useful. Share it maybe. And again, cheers everyone. Thanks a lot. Flo here and Bobby from Blockchain North. Cheerio.
Cheers. Thanks.